There's a common belief right now that software engineers are screwed because now everyone can write code. So what even is the point of an engineer anymore? We see world leaders saying that AI will replace everyone within the next 2 to 10 years. That may or may not be true, yet ironically, I believe that software engineering is actually the most relevant skill set to learn right now. So in this short video, I'll explain how AI has actually increased the value of being a software engineer and why only a small minority will truly benefit from this. But first, a bit of backstory. Almost 3 years ago, I realized that the only way to really capitalize on this new wave of technology was to actually understand what was going on. So I enrolled at a technical university to study AI engineering. And since then, every business is now trying to figure out how to integrate AI into their workflows using LLMs and computer vision. And this has created massive opportunity for software engineers to build new infrastructure, to integrate AI into existing systems, and to develop the tools that make all of these things come together. However, most developers see AI as a threat. They fear being replaced, but I think we should view it as an advantage because what's really happening is AI is being implemented across every industry. We're simply just the first to be substantially augmented because our work is entirely digital. But soon AI will impact everyone, and this means that we just have an early adopter advantage. Long before construction workers can automate their house building with robots, we'll be able to develop AI-driven and AI-enhanced applications, and we'll do it much faster, cheaper, and smarter using tools that no one else knows how to fully utilize. Because let's be honest, if you don't know how computers work or how to build software applications, you're not equipped to build with them. Even if you have the same tools available, you won't be able to build the same things. So I really think we should forget the whole AI will replace all engineers, because if that really happens, it won't just affect us engineers and tech interested people, it'll affect the entire world and all industries. So instead of panicking, I do think we should be trying to capitalize on this early adopter advantage that I talked about. And the way to do that is no longer by working at a big corporate company, even though they are the ones creating this crazy technology, because that old paradigm of going to college and studying a STEM field and getting a six-figure job, that paradigm is slowly cracking. Last year alone, software engineer productivity rose by nearly 30%. However, their salaries only increased by 5%. So the productivity gains are really only benefiting the business owners, not the engineers that are creating the technology. Even worse than that, companies are laying off more engineers because a smaller team can now do the exact same work. So there's only really one route left. You need to build your own business. And what better profession to build a business than software engineering? While most people need to hire developers and risk burning their savings because they need to invest a lot of capital into building new products, you can just start building products on your own, and you can experiment and you can iterate and pivot. The only thing you really need to invest is your time. That's why so many successful startups have been founded by software engineers. And that's why I believe software engineering is still the best skill set for anyone who wants to build their own business and be able to capitalize on this new technology. We're living in an economy driven by attention and automation. And that's exactly why I started this channel and why I chose to study AI engineering, which is, by the way, visualization of software engineering. Being able to automate with code and AI is a superpower nowadays. If you don't already have that skill, I can not recommend it enough. Code, content, and capital are the highest leverage tools like they have been for a long time, because they can work on your behalf independent on how much time you spend working. And since we can now produce more code than ever, there's virtually no limit to what a single developer can accomplish. So to summarize, as a software engineer, you're the first to be augmented by AI and be able to use these tools and new agents. And no one without a technical background can really use these tools as effectively as you can. You face almost no barrier to entry in entrepreneurship because you can just go ahead and build a project without having to invest your life savings into products or production, and your work scales infinitely with almost no costs associated with the scale. You have unlimited leverage because your code can work on your behalf forever, and you only really have to write it once, and all you need to get started is time and a laptop. How crazy is that? This, I think, is why so many modern startups are created by engineers, and we are seeing more and more that solo entrepreneurs are actually building very successful startups, and that's because their tools are becoming more powerful. So in my opinion, you should definitely still learn how to use software and how to create software, even if AI can write code and it can use tools for you, because you'll need to understand what's happening behind the curtains, how APIs work, how different systems integrate, how AI models can be customized for specific tasks or pipelines. That said, the skills you should learn today are not the same as you should learn 5 years ago. In the future, software engineers won't just be programmers, they'll be architects. They'll have a more holistic role making design decisions, and that requires technical depth, but not fluency in a dozen programming languages. You don't necessarily need to implement everything yourself. You can use the newest AI tools to accelerate your development, but you need to understand what's actually going on. Soft skills like communication will become essential because you'll increasingly work with AI assistants, and most people can't give precise, structured instructions because they don't understand the underlying logic. Programming is becoming less central. Engineering is, however, also about designing and making decisions and understanding how everything fits together. And as an entrepreneur, in addition to all of that, you also need to understand designing products for real users, communicating your visions clearly to other people, but also to AI agents that need to help you develop things. Many people think they can just give AI a task and then have it do it all, but typically that doesn't really work. It usually makes mistakes, and you need to be able to tell it what it's doing wrong in order for it to actually fix it, or you'll just end up in these death loops where it just keeps saying, here, the program is done, and then it just doesn't finish it, right? And you don't want that. So to wrap up, in the same way mathematicians didn't become obsolete when computers were invented, AI is just not at that point. And even if it does get to that point sometime in the future, I think there's a long time until we reach that stage, because you essentially need to be able to one-shot a full application from a single prompt. And until that day, you'll need to be the one with the overview, the one who understands everything and can connect the strings. So that is what makes software engineers more important than ever. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This was my first ever YouTube video, so I would appreciate some feedback in the comments. See you in the next video.